All right, so this is a quick walkthrough of how to make a personalized video with an image behind you and then deliver that over Zapier rather whenever you'd like. So to start, we're first going to record our video, and because we're going to put an image behind us, we're going to do this off of the platform. Distance is important, so I'd say this or any further back is good. And then when we say our variables, we want to make sure there are pauses around them. So to give you an example, we can say, "Hello name, this is Don from Kittner Insurance, and I want to talk to you about your quote." That works. If we were to say, "I see your rate is X dollars, and this is a fantastic rate," then that's not going to work because there are no pauses around it. So in our script, we need to make sure that we're saying something like, for example, "I'm looking at your rate here. It's $3 and blah, 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 blah." That will work because there's a pause around it. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's film this. "Hey, name. Don from Kinter Insurance here. Hope you're doing well. I just saw your quote come through about a minute ago, so wanted to make a quick video message to reach out and go through it with you. So, most important part and good news, looking at your rate here, around 60 cents, that's a really competitive rate. So, this is going to be all right. Now, our next step is to find whatever we want to put behind us. Here's just a quick example form that you can imagine could be a quote. We're going to decrease this and we're going to put it, let's say down here, and then extend this out so it's overlaid. "Hey, name. Don from Kinter Insurance here." Really important point. By the time you actually start using the platform, this will most likely not even be relevant, but make sure that you're doing recording dash and then the file name. And we want to save files as an MP4. So in this case, I'm going to have to export it and then convert it after, but all lowercase, recording dash, and then whatever you want to name the file, MP4. One thing to check is to make sure the file is a manageable size. You don't want an MP4 file that's like 200 megabytes because it's going to really slow things down and be tough to work with in the platform. So if you have a large file, let's say anything over like 50 megabytes, make sure to compress it before you upload it. So you can compress it by Googling compress MP4. There's a link with feed. Yeah, this one's great. So just make sure that your file is a decent size, let's say under 50 MBs, before you upload it. But we have our file ready. So let's go back into the platform. Let's go to assets and let's simply click and drag the file into here. Perfect. All right, now let's let this upload. Already done. Now just a small thing you have to do today, but this will be fixed soon enough. Just refresh this page and then go back into assets, find the file, and here it is. Right click and press use as template video. All right, so we have our video in here, and now we're going to select the variable. So as we play this, Don from Kinter Insurance here, you can see that it wrote down what we said, more or less. So all we have to do now, we can see our pauses are down here in the timeline, and they're represented by blocks. So pause, "Hey, name," speech, then more pause and speech, and then over here there's a pause, and so on and so forth. Our variables have to be surrounded by pauses once again. So all we have to do now is highlight the text that we want to personalize. And in this case, it's "hey name." It's the full variable phrase. So let's select that and let's call that name. All right, excellent. And the next thing we're going to personalize is 60 cents, which is around here. "Looking at your rate here, around 60 cents. Okay, now it grabbed this section, which is what we want. So let's call this rate. By the way, if you ever need to change the length of the time markers, you can just grab the edge and then move them around. But this should be good. So this is our first variable. "Hey name." And you can see the variable has been marked there. And our second variable, around 60 cents. That's perfect. Looks good. All right. So what I recommend first is to generate a quick sample video just to make sure that the timing is good with the variables. So let's put in just a very simple name and rate just to make sure that everything's looking good. So there's two ways to generate first names. You can either record them manually by saying something like "Hi Reed," or you can use the generate first names button, which is going to attempt to clone your voice and make you say that name. Just to be totally straight up, like the best quality is if you record them manually, of course, right?
But the cloning is quite good, right? For most cases, you can use it and no one's going to notice. Um, so if but if you want like the highest quality videos, like I recommend you take 45 minutes, record a bunch of common first names. It saves them to your account under your actor profile right here, which is automatically created for you. So that if I already recorded read, so if I type read again, right, it has it for me. In the US, about 80% of people have one of 2,000 first names. So, you know, you take 45 minutes to record 1,500, 2,000, and, it covers 90 or 80%, I should say, of all feature names that will come up statistically. But in any case, the next thing to do is the rate. So, first names, you have the option to generate. Everything else has to be recorded manually. So, what I would, think for you is if you have your rate could be either between say 30 cents, 40, 50, 60, 70, and like a dollar. Let's say those are the possibilities, right? So I would just list those things out beforehand, right? And when you record this, we want to say it in the same tone of voice as we said the variable here. So around 60 cents, which sounds like this.
Here, around 60 cents.
We want to say something like around 70 cents, around 30 cents, right? And so you can go on like that. All right, so I just adjusted the variable timings below because the automatic selections were good but not perfect. So I just adjusted it by moving the yellow bars on the sides here once you click on them. And I reprocessed it. So I did Joe for 80 cents. And let's check out the result here.
Hey Joe, Don from Kinter Insurance here. Hope you're doing well. I just saw your quote come through about a minute ago, so wanted to make a quick video message to reach out and go through it with you. So most important part and good news, looking at your rate here, around 80 cents. That's a really competitive rate. So this is going to be a very good benefit of working. So that's the important part. Now, if I wanted to make it even more perfect, the around 80 cents, I could make that start a little bit sooner. So I'm just going to barely drag this a tiny bit over here. But, it's good enough as is. In production, nobody will ever notice anything. This is just us having a magnifying glass over the details. So great, we have our template in, we have a variable set. Now let's connect this to Zapier. All right, so I know you had a form that was going to trigger this, and I don't recall exactly which app it was coming from. So just to keep it simple, let's just say that this is coming from a new row in a Google Sheet. So let's have Google Sheets be our trigger. So the event will be with Be Human. So when, let's say there is a new spreadsheet row, and this would be, you submitting a form, so it'd be a different Zapier. Then we want to create a new video. All right, so I have a couple of Be Human accounts linked here already. You can connect yours by clicking Connect to New Account. And then it's going to ask you for a little bit of information, a client ID and client secret. So let's go back to Be Human, go into Settings, and then go to Zapier, and then create new API keys. Perfect. Now copy the client ID and then the client secret. Perfect. And that will select the account for us. And now it's going to search for our video templates, and let's find insurance. Okay, so there are two important variables to map here that have been defined in our script, which is, of course, name and rate. And that's reflected, of course, if I go back to the video instance in the column headers. Um, very simply, we have to choose, okay, what is going to be put into that and make sure that it's in the same format. So just to give you an example, right, if I go into my insurance template, so I need my inputs to be like 70, 80, 90, right? If I get 70 cents like this as an input, it won't know what to say, right? So it needs to match exactly to what we've already planned in the video creation process. And let's have it send an email. I know that in your use case, it might be something different, but let's just keep it simple. Okay, now let's publish this. Let's say that we have a new row here and it's Joe and the rate is 80 cents. All right, great. So the first thing is, let's start with the name. We need to make sure that we have the name Joe down. So I may have recorded Joe in the past. I have in this case, so I already have it. And 80 cents, let's see if I have it. I do have it as well. I don't think I have 90 cents. No, okay. So think about what the possibilities could be for the rate. So let's just say it's, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Let's say those are the possibilities, right? Go ahead and record all these so that you have them in your database, which is linked to your account. And then the next part is names. So how do we get you to say all these names? So there's two ways we can do it. Either we're going to try to generate you saying this. So if I put like, let's see, Amanda, right? Okay. I don't have a recording of Amanda for this particular account. So if I go in here, let's imagine that Amanda, now I don't have a recording of Amanda for my voice. As you can see here, there's nothing to play. But I do have 80 cents. So it'll try to generate me saying Amanda, and I have the 80 cents. So let's give that a shot. So let's open one and check it out. Hi, Amanda. Don from Kinter Insurance here. Hope you're doing well. I just saw your quote come through about a minute ago, so wanted to make a quick video message to reach out and go through it with you. So most important part and good news, looking at your rate here, around 80 cents, a really competitive rate. So this is going to be very. All right, so there you have it. So from here, you can embed this anywhere you want. But basically, the connection between Zapier is set up and successfully running. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, just shoot me a note. Once again, like this design I just took you through, this is all actually being changed. We have a huge update that's happening over the next day or two. So the process and the flow of the design will be a little bit different, but the core functionality and principle remains the same. So this will give you an idea. And once we have the new designs in, I'll shoot you a note and you can dive in and set it up then. All right, thanks a lot.